Happy New Year's Eve, everyone, and I hope you guys had a great year. This is my end of the year's pickups video. I didn't plan on this video, but I wanted to get everything I gotten that you guys haven't seen and put it in one big video for you guys because tired of stuff that's sitting over here. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I kind of rushed this video out for you guys because I wanted to get out to you before the end of the year, but I think you'll find a lot of enjoyable titles on here that you might not have known about. So this is me keeping you guys laced up. Let's start the video off. River City Girls Part 2. Now, I understand why people were upset that I didn't include this game in the last video. And one of the reasons I didn't include it was because I usually kind of like skip past the story mode. Now, the gameplay was great, but I thought like the story mode would kind of turn people off from it. But, you know, since they added some new features to this game, I felt like, you know what, I had to add the sequel to the list. Now, the feature I was most impressed with was the inclusion of online play. Yes, you could play online with friends, and it's fairly easy. It was kind of crazy because when I played the game, you know, I opened online pretty much and nobody was on there. So I was like, dang, man, no one's playing online. And all of a sudden, someone joined me and we went through a great portion of the game. It was so much fun just having someone randomly join me and help me out. So that's why I tell people, man, like the inclusion of online play is essential for beat 'em up games for everybody to get that full value out of them. And River City Girls 2 does that. Now, if you already liked the first game, you're definitely going to enjoy this one. Inclusion of new characters. I like that you get to play as the River City Boys from the beginning. You could choose from 4 characters from the beginning of the game, which is cool. And then I think there's 2 unlockable. One of them is actually Marion from Double Dragon, but you won't recognize her because they gave her a masculine look. So I guess a lot of the people like that kind of look with women now. It's like, really? But I remember Marion as, you know, the girl that got kidnapped in the first Double Dragon, but now they're making her just all unrecognizable. But anyways, give this game a go. Alright, next up we have Unmetal. I passed this game up because I saw what the cover looked like and I just wasn't really paying attention to it. You know, I only briefly saw it, so I didn't really look into it. But when I found out this was a Metal Gear game, it was already too late. And when I say Metal Gear game, it's like a spoof of the Metal Gear game. So definitely has a comedic feel to this game, very funny, but just plays like a Metal Gear Solid game where you have to like hide, attack enemies, sneaking up on them and stuff like that, and you fight like crazy bosses. And the story is hilarious. It's just so much fun, and especially if you played the old school Metal Gear games. I mean, just a lot of heart went into this game. If you have a copy of this game, be thankful because as of right now, I think it's only available on Steam, but as a physical game, it's only available for Vita. And I was lucky to buy a copy from Video Games New York, thankfully. Man, so happy that they were able to help me out. So shout out to Video Games New York, man. You guys are always looking out for people.
1972, a crack commando unit threw me in a prison for a crime I didn't commit.
You're under arrest for a crime you didn't commit! Hey, buddy. I have no paper. Can you bring me some?
Here you are.
Thanks, man. You saved my ass, literally. What the fuck? What sort of paper is this? It's only 1 ply, unscented, and unpatterned.
It's the kind the prisoners use.
Fuck, that's why their hands stink so much.
we have Remnant Part 2. I played Remnant from the Ashes with my friends a couple years back, and we really enjoyed that game, but it was a bit tough, and we were struggling with that game, so we kind of fell off from it, and I've always wanted to go back and play it, but Remnant 2 has come out, and this game blew me away. I think they liked it too. There's so much going on in this game, and the levels, the worlds that you go to in this game are so freaking cool. Like, you go to a futuristic world, a freaking medieval world, things like that. The levels are so cool, and the customization is well done as usual. I don't hear a lot of people talking about this series at all. I know the first game did get a release on Switch, but I don't know if it caught on, because playing these type of games on the Switch probably like is really pushing that system, and probably I don't know if the game really looks good. But anyways, going back to Part 2, I really feel like this game is probably the hidden gem of the year, and I say hidden gem because, like I said, I don't really hear anybody talking about it, and the release for this was kind of quiet, you know, in some ways, and not really a big like commercial release where they were letting people know it was out. But definitely, if you have a chance to play this game, I think you will love it, especially if you play it with friends. It's amazing, and just the teamwork, the customization for your characters, just like, man, just everything's well done in this game. So let me know what you guys think about this one, but this is definitely one of the games that impressed me this year. Here's Gylt. Now, this game actually, I believe, came out quite a few years ago, like I believe back in 2019-20, but it was a Stadia exclusive, if you guys remember that system. Thank goodness the developers decided to expand the game, because I don't think a lot of people would know about it if it just stayed on the Stadia. And of course, now it has a physical release. Now, you play as a young girl named Sally who's looking for her missing cousin, Emily. Now, Emily, I believe, has been missing for a month when the game starts, and pretty much the game starts with you putting up posters, letting everybody know that she's missing. But unfortunately, during the search, your character gets bullied by neighborhood kids, ends up getting lost, and you're trying to find your way back home. When you go to the train station that you find, you see this weird conductor, and the conductor says, hey, you got to buy this ticket to go home. You buy the ticket, and all of a sudden, you go to this jacked up looking city that's just, it's like a mirror image of, I believe, where Sally goes to school at. But it's just pretty twisted, and I found the game to be pretty eerie as I played through it. It really gave me an unnerving feeling about what was around the corner, because you're playing as a child in this game. She's only 11 years old, and she's going through a school like at nighttime in other parts of the city. And it's just like, it just looks very eerie, and the monsters in this game are just like terrifying looking. You know, I just feel bad for her. But mostly in the beginning of the game, you'll be kind of like playing stealth, like trying to hide from your enemies until you figure out how to take them out, or if you need to take them out. Some enemies you can just walk past. Some enemies are patrolling, so you have to be very careful. And some enemies are just like, they pretty much stalk you, so you have to be quiet when you can and run if you have to. Now, I wanted to mention also that I have played this game on live streams, and those videos are up, so if you want to check those videos out and see how it is, you know, definitely give those a watch. I might actually start doing more live streams. But anyways, going back into the game, I like how it gives you that sense of what's around the corner. It just feels like, I know I say this term a lot, but it just feels unnerving, just like a survival horror game should be. Oh, also, I did want to mention that the game has multiple endings, so depending on how you play the game, you'll get a different ending. There's a good ending, a bad ending, and a selfish ending, I would say. So, anyways, guys, definitely check out Gylt. Let me know what you think about it.
Hey, Sally! You still looking for your cousin?
What'd you do to her?
Sally, we know you're here.
You can't hide from us.
There's still a chance for you to make things right, Sally. You must find Emily. She is the key to ending this nightmare.
Alright, so here's Astronite. This game came out of nowhere for me. This was sent to me by Funstock. And this is a Metroidvania where you play as an astronaut who crash lands on a planet. Now, the game is in black and white, but that doesn't take away from its charm. But the game does have a problem that kind of annoys me. It's not going to annoy everybody, but it annoyed me. So if you guys have played games like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, you know how that game starts with Alucard. He has his weapons and all that stuff. And then when you get to a certain part, you get all that taken away from you. Well, the same thing happens in this game. Just when I got used to how the mechanics go pretty much, how you shoot enemies, jump around, use your jetpack, they took everything away from me, even my weapons. So I couldn't even attack anybody. So that was pretty annoying. But luckily, the first item you get back is your gun, so you can fight back. But man, getting you used to that mechanic pretty much, like you have everything and then all of a sudden they just take it away. It's just so annoying. But that doesn't take away from the game. It's just an annoyance for me. Now, I haven't got too far in the story yet, but the dialogue is freaking funny. If you listen to what they say to each other, it's a pretty funny dialogue in this game. Now, the game does have certain puzzles that are time-based pretty much. So, let's say you set off a trap pretty much, and you have to figure out a puzzle. You don't figure out in time, of course, you get killed Indiana Jones style, so be careful of that. But none of the puzzles so far are too hard. It's just like, it could be very tense because, you know, like, there's one puzzle I set off where the water is going to come up and drown me, and I have to shoot these orbs in time in a right order to get the water to drop back down. So that was a tense moment for me trying to get that done. But I think it's an exciting game, and I think a lot of people will like it. If you like puzzle platformers, Metroidvania style games, Astronite is right up your alley. This game is pretty hidden from what I know, so I didn't even know it got an American release. So if you like what you're seeing here, it might be a game you want to check out. Slaps and Beans Part 2. So I'm actually surprised that they actually got a sequel. I'm happy that this got greenlit because the first game actually ended on a cliffhanger, like a comical cliffhanger, but I was not expecting the second game to come out. Now, if you haven't played this series, it is a comical beat 'em up that adds elements of like a lot of bonus games and like just all kind of like funny gimmicks during gameplay. Now, hopefully most of you guys that are playing this game are familiar with Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill. Their comedies from back in their movies are freaking hilarious, and they go from like spaghetti westerns to buddy cop movies. Now, unfortunately, just like the first game, no online play, which I feel like, man, they should have like hit that one, because it seems like it would have been able to be done with this one because both characters are always together. You can actually switch between them if you're not playing like couch co-op. But even though that's missing, they did add some cool features like voice acting. I think the voices are well done. They pretty much capture the feel just like the movies, I would say. So the voice actors did a pretty good job on that end. But one of the things I feel like this game like passes the first game over is the soundtrack. These tunes really match the atmosphere you're in, and they're just like, you could just sit back in your car and just listen to these tunes all day. I mean, they did a great job on the soundtrack, and the game even has a jukebox that you could like listen to the soundtrack in the beginning of the game so you could try out some of the songs. They go great with the action because in this game, you'll get swarmed by enemies. It's just like their movies when you saw the fight scenes in their movies back in the day. It plays out just like that, so it's pretty hilarious, and you got good music to go with it. So hopefully I've inspired you guys to check this game out. I didn't really talk about a lot of the mini games because there's so many of them, but the mini games are hilarious and fun to figure out as well. Even though they broke up the action a little bit too much for me, but still it's nice to know that they're there and there's a lot of them to check out. I'm about halfway through the game, but me and Marcus plan on playing this together on maybe not even on a live stream, maybe just on a post-recorded video, but we're going to beat the game, so very pumped up for that. But definitely check this one out, guys. Here's the Blaster Master Zero series. Indie Crates did a great job reintroducing this series to fans because the first game's story was kind of like really bare bones. You had to kind of like put things together. But Indie Crates was able to recreate the first game and also expand upon the story, making sure that Eve, which is a central character in the Blaster Master series, was pretty much introduced in the first game and in the series. So they did a really great job reintroducing the story to people and making the story compelling enough for us to care about it without having to try to piece things together like in the first game years ago. But anyways, So if you haven't played these games before, these are pretty much single-player action-adventure games. And you have a vehicle that you travel with, and also you get out of the vehicle and like fight enemies like that. That is only recommended in certain parts of the game. And then when you get to certain parts of levels, you'll have like a top-down view where you pretty much fight bosses and stuff. It's actually really well done. It keeps the formula fresh, thankfully, and it kept me glued to it. So I had a really good time with this series. If you haven't played Blaster Master, I highly recommend you check these games out. You don't even have to go to the original games. Just go to the Blaster Master Zero series, and you'll be alright from that point on. Alright, so Super Blood Hockey is definitely an arcade hockey game. When people play this game, don't go into it thinking like you're going to play a realistic ice hockey game. This is like just straight on arcade fun. If you remember games from the past, or even heard of this game, Blades of Steel, I think most people have played that game. You'll know what to kind of expect from this game, but this game takes what that game has and just takes off with it. One of the things I really liked about this game was the music. The chip tunes in this game are really good. You know, I'm not saying it's anything you could bump in your car, but still it gives you like that nostalgic memory of how like 8-bit games soundtracks used to be. Very well done. Now going to the gameplay. Alright, so being that the title is called Super Blood Hockey, you can expect some blood to be in this game. I thought it was going to just be a little bit, but we're talking about splatters of blood all over the arena pretty much. So if your teammate's not ready to catch the puck, he gets hit, blood splatter. If you get in a fight with another team, it's pretty much like the whole team fights. Like there's no one-on-one brawls in this game, so the whole team fights the other team until the other team is like all down, and at least one of those players will be coughing up blood. It's pretty insane how it looks. I've ended up liking this game more than I thought I would, and it really brings back that nostalgia of the old school arcade hockey games. I'm really happy that Premium Edition Games brought this to the physical format. Honestly, I would have never known about this game because the digital market is flooded with like 8-bit games, I would say, and it's hard to like find certain stuff. So thank goodness they picked this one out to give it a physical format. Here's Dreadout Part 2. Now, the original game came out on Steam a few years back, and it's unfortunate that did not get a physical release, but at least we got one of the games, and this is actually the better game. So Dreadout is pretty much a survival horror game where you're dealing with what I would say pretty much urban legends. So the game kind of throws a lot at you. If you play games like Fatal Frame, you'll kind of know what you're getting into here. You actually attack enemies with your camera phone and other various objects. Now, this is one survival horror game that gets straight to the point. You know, first of all, it starts you off at a school at night, and it looks terrifying. Now, while you're at the school, it seems like it's pretty empty, but this is the best time to kind of get used to the controls in the game. Now, you play as Linda, the protagonist from the first game, and pretty much this game starts where the last game left off. Now, at nighttime is where you have to really fight enemies, and during the daytime, you get to walk around the city, go to dorms in the village and all that stuff, do all your traveling and look around. But when it's night, that's when it's time to fight. And this game just like, it throws all kind of weirdness at you, and that's one of the things I really like about it. The urban legend hook is really going to pull a lot of people in because like all the different types of monsters you'll see and all kind of the weirdness will really throw some people through a loop. Now there's a part early in the game where you get a live stream going on your phone, and it's basically this girl blaming you for what's going on all these people's deaths, and I'm like, what the heck is this? And pretty much this girl was pretty much saying it's on site. So when I left the school, I wasn't expecting this, but she was waiting for me at the front door, and pretty much a boss fight started, so I had to take her out. I got past it the first time thanks to like practicing how to move in the game, and using the phone against her was pretty easy, but how she appeared in the game was kind of like a foreshadowing of what things to come pretty much. So you're going to always have to keep your head on the swivel in this game because you never know what it's going to throw at you, and I think a lot of survival horror fans will like that. So keep this one on your radar. And also, they have a movie out for it. I did not even know this, but there's a movie on Dreadout, so definitely check that. Well, let me know if you guys have seen it, if it's any good, so you can save me some time from watching it if it's bad. But anyways, this game is good. Definitely check it out. Here's Breaker's Collector's Edition for the PlayStation 4. Now, this is a verse fighting game, and it's very old school, as you can see here. It's not like one of those new fighting games today, like one-button combinations, things like that. You really got to put some skill into this game. It's a lot of fun. I believe this game came out on Neo Geo CD, and of course I have the Dreamcast version of it as well. But this game consists of 2 games. The second game is more of an upgrade, but these are definitely great fighting games that need more light. So hopefully, I mean, I don't know we'll see this game in a tournament or anything like that, but for people like me that like old school, this game is definitely a lot of fun. Now, this game is available as download, but if you want the physical copy, you have to go through Strictly Limited to get it. So good luck with that. Dead Island Part 2. Now, Dead Island 2 came out of nowhere. I was surprised at how fast this game came to release because it was pretty much in limbo for like for 10 years after it was announced pretty much. And then all of a sudden, like, it was ready to go. You know, pre-orders were popping in, and like, it was just a really like a shock. I couldn't believe it was finally out. And when I played the game finally, I was very impressed. I was so happy with the final product. I had a really good time playing the game when it first came out online because there was a lot of people, a lot of community out there like helping each other out online. So playing this game co-op is just where it's at. And when I tried it out recently, there wasn't that many people online, but still I had a great time with this game. And I recently finally beat it, and just overall, just like, you know, just happy that this game actually made it to release. You know, I was pretty nervous over the years that it was never going to get released, and then I just kind of just forgot about it. But then all of a sudden it just pops up. It's like, hey. Now the character I picked through my playthrough, my first playthrough, was Amy because she could run fast. But man, she could barely take any damage. So I tried to mitigate that mistake and pick Carla on my next playthrough. And though I like Carla better, I like being able to get out of situations pretty fast. So I think Amy is my main person. You know, I'm going to try some of the other characters as well. But I just like being able to run fast and get out of certain situations quickly. Even with the damage and carnage and all this craziness going on around you, the environments in the game are actually good to look at. You know, Beverly Hills, Venice Beach, Hollywood Boulevard. You know, everything looks great despite the damage that's being done in those areas. I felt the story in this game compelled me to pull through it because even playing the first 2 Dead Island games, which was Dead Island and then Dead Island Reptide, I wasn't compelled to beat those games right away like I was this one. This one really drew me in, and I think it will do the same for other people who try it out. Here's Daymare 1994 Sandcastle. So I've been waiting for this game to get released for a long time. They kept delaying it, which annoyed the hell out of me, but finally it's here. But by the time it got here, I was kind of uninterested in picking it up. But what happened was the collector's edition was up on eBay, and it went on sale for $30. And I was like, I may buy it, but I don't know. I wasn't sure. I was still kind of mad. And I told my buddy Joe Rad about it. He was going to buy it. And I said, no, man, don't buy it yet, man. Let's wait till Black Friday and see what happens. And sure enough, he hit me up and said, hey, Reggie, they just dropped the price. And it was $17.99 on Amazon. So I picked up my copy. Now, what's funny about this game is that when I put it into PlayStation 4, it had a patch. And I was like, oh, man, I don't feel like waiting for this patch. It was like a 10 or 15 minutes or whatever like that. So I was like, I just want to play the game. And I'm playing it. And I was like, okay, this is interesting, but there's some weird stuff in the game. Like the intro scene, you go down this long hallway, you meet up with your partners, and you go on your mission pretty much. But the graphics in the game were kind of messed up. There was a glitch where you're like, you ever seen that movie Cocoon? How everybody, the people in the Cocoon looked like, I haven't seen the movie in years, but you guys know what I'm talking about, how they were all bright and everything like that. That's how your characters would look during the cinematics. It was so weird. I was like, how did they put this on the disc like this? And like, it was pretty much unplayable, I would say. So then I patched the game, and the whole intro sequence is different. So these guys put this stuff on, put these broken games on disc, man, and it's just insane how they do that. I'm guessing they did it for, like, I don't know, cost and just time efficiency. I'm not really sure. But man, like, if you see how broken this game is on the disc, you guys will be shocked. I mean, I dare somebody to play it like this, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go through it with the patch, of course, and try to enjoy the game. But I just want to put that out there. But if you like survival horror games, you might like this one. I would say put the game on easy because the developers are pretty much new to making games, I would say, at least from what I've seen. And the balancing is a bit, you know, they're not good at balancing the games like someone like Konami or Capcom does with survival horror games. So just be aware of that. So play the game on easy first and see how you do on it. And then if it's too easy, then of course put it on normal. But yeah, I'm interested in you guys. Let me know what you think about this game. I like Daymare, the 1998. I thought it was cool. I think this one's a lot better. But still, it's got its problems. Here's Clockwork Aquario for the PlayStation 5 system. I was supposed to get the collector's edition for this game, but I freaking missed out on that. So just got the standard edition. And pretty much this is, I would say this is the same as the PS4 one, which is more of an upgrade when it comes to load times. If you like action platformers, I can see a lot of people playing this. This game was lost in time, as most of you guys know, and thankfully, thanks to Strictly Limited, it got released on modern platforms, thankfully. So it's a co-op action game. It's a lot of fun. I can see why it didn't do well in the arcades when they tested it out. This is more of a game that you would play on a console at home. But either way, you know what? And actually, this game actually reminds me a lot of the Nemo Capcom game in the arcades. A lot of people don't know they had a little Nemo arcade game. And that's what Clockwork Aquario reminds me of. But a lot of people don't know about Nemo because it didn't do well in the arcades as well. But the home console version did well on the NES. But anyways, other than that, it's a great game. Strictly Limited, I believe, still has more copies of this if you guys want to check this one out, or you could download it. But definitely, I would say give this game a try. Next up, we have Bullet Soul Infinite Burst. I don't know if this is an upgrade or a true sequel to the first game that's on this system as well, but I decided to go with this game for the video. And this game does not disappoint at all. One of the things that I love about this game is that it has that kind of laser that's kind of like a rope in a way, like kind of where it swirls around. I love that weapon. That weapon just makes me feel, it feels like I can shoot everybody on the screen pretty much. So anybody think they can sneak up on me? Not a chance. You know, I got the rope laser ready to go. And I know it's not called a rope laser. I just called that for some weird reason. But it's an awesome weapon. But also in this game, if you push the other button, you can kind of charge your shot and just shoot straight forward. That's actually good for bosses to kind of suck down their energy down. But I want to give a quick shout out to my buddy Kyle for making this happen, man. I totally forgot about this collector's edition, and he was looking out for me on this one. And also, too, you guys won't believe this, but there is a rare 360 version that he's looking out for me on. So I appreciate you, Kyle. Thanks a lot, buddy. Here's Mr. Gimmick. Now, I played this game years ago. My buddy Eric, if you guys remember Eric Bishop, he helped create Reggie's Radical Adventures. He made a repro of this game for me because I had never played it before. And Gimmick was a very good game. It's very gimmicky, I would say. Okay, gimmicky. But you guys gonna know what I mean. It's very, it's a different kind of platformer where you really have to kind of prepare yourself for awkward jumps in certain situations of attacks against enemies. But it's really fun once you get used to it. You know, it's not really easy like a lot of platforms are where you could kind of attack your enemies easily. You have a bouncing star and you have to kind of angle it towards your enemies where it'll actually hit them with not precise timing, but just good timing in general. But I tried to play this game again recently because I hadn't played it in years, and I got to the second level, but I was struggling on the first boss, so need a little bit more practice. But I definitely think this is worth your time, and especially with the save state feature and rewind effects, I think a lot of people could get into this game now because it's definitely one of those platform games out there that you could tell is going to get difficult as it goes on. So definitely a game that's not going to hold your hand, but now it can since it has a rewind feature. Star Ocean: The Divine Force. So I actually talked about this game on the channel before. I had the PS4 version, and the PS5 version you're just seeing here, it was actually on sale during Black Friday for $10. So I saw that. I mean, you know what? Let me go ahead and just pick it up because I'm gonna play it on the PS5 soon, anyways. But definitely a step above Integrity and Faithlessness. That game felt more like a PS3 game. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. I felt like they ported it to the PS4 just to kind of get sales, but it was really just a PS3 game. But anyway, this game is steps above it. It's definitely worth your time. It's a lot of fun, and the characters are very likable, I would say. So if you like action RPGs and you can find this for a good deal, go ahead and pick it up. Now, here is the Callisto Protocol. Now, I picked this up like everybody else did for $5 at GameStop. That's the only reason I just decided to pick this game up. And I know it's from I believe it's from the makers of Dead Space, but I know this game doesn't capture the feel. I don't know. I got to get further into it to really give you guys a solid opinion on it. But if you find it on cheap and you're into survival horror, you might want to pick it up. I believe they patched a lot of the problems out of the game finally, so it's actually playable now. Not that it wasn't playable before, but just like little issues here that would kind of irritate people and everything, like long death scenes from what I heard and other crazy stuff that kind of turn people off. But if you guys have played this game, let me know in the comments. Is it good, bad? Give me the details. Everending Nightmares is a nightmare to play. This is a game where you play as a man who keeps on waking up into different worse nightmares, each just very confusing and unnerving, I would say. I think the game will be entertaining for a lot of people, possibly, but some people might just be turned off by it because your character could barely move around fast, and sometimes you have to like run from enemies or just hide from them in general, and it just, I don't know, the pacing of the game just really kind of got on my nerves. But I think like this game is like it's good for a good thrill, I would say, for some, but for me it just wasn't it. Like I think I got close to the end of the game and I got stuck in some kind of weird maze, and I was like, man, I ain't got time for this, and I kind of put it down. But you guys let me know if you think I should pick it up again, or you guys think it's a solid game. Here is the Valis collection, volume 1 and 2. Now, I originally got this because I wanted to play Valis 3, the TurboGrafx version, on the Switch pretty much, because that version of the game on the TurboGrafx is pretty expensive. And I love the cringy English dialogue in the game. And I was thinking this game had it, but it doesn't. It actually went with the original Japanese dub, which is fine, but I really wish they could have included the English dub in it, because I don't know, I just had that nostalgia for it, I would say. But these are platform games. They are very, very difficult. Well, yeah, they're difficult to the modern gamer, I would say. Old school gamers like myself, we can handle it, but to anybody new to the Valis series, I don't know if they want to get into this series. But for us old school guys, I think this collection is definitely worth getting. But these games, man, they could get brutal. Here's Moving Out Part 2. Now, I talked about the first one on my channel a couple years back. I had no idea they had a sequel already made. And what's cool about this game is that they add online play, which is what I was talking about the first game should have had. So you can play with friends online, because this is pretty much a party game. And with a party game, you need online because your friends can't come over all the time. So I'm glad they added the online play. Now, as of right now, I haven't seen too many people online playing this game. Probably the Switch version is probably more lively. But still, I think this is a solid game, a solid series. If you haven't played these games, I would say definitely check it out. They are a lot of fun, and especially if you have friends to play them with. So I would say people should aim for Part 2 because of the online play. But if you get Part 1's cool too. But like I said, the online play really makes these games. So just be aware of that. Here's Rapsody Marls Kingdom Chronicles. This consists of Rapsody Part 2 and Rapsody Part 3. Now, the original Rapsody game in America came out, I believe, in 2000, I believe. And I remember I beat that game the first day I got it. Like, I was just going through it. It's a really easy tactical RPG. The real charm in the game was the humor in it. It was really funny. The dialogue was cracking me up. But when it came time for the sequel, crickets, because the game didn't sell well. Now that we have this, it's like 20 years later, it's like, man, like it's cool, but it's like, man, 20 years too late. Like, I can understand 5 years, maybe even 10 years, but 20 years for games that were already made almost is just not good. But hey, I hate to say this, but better late than never. But hopefully when I get to these games, they'll have the charm the original game had. I know Rapsody Part 2 is the main game that's probably considered the best one, with Rapsody 3, Marls Kingdom. That's more of like a chronicle type game and goes back and forth between the story. But I'm really hoping when I have time to get through both of these games that they'll have left the charm that the original game left with me. But we'll see. I decided when picking these up that I wanted to go ahead and get the collector's edition. Just go ahead and get everything with it. Now, for some weird reason, they decided to put it on PS5 instead of PS4, which I thought was a really bad idea, but whatever. But it is also available on the Switch, so most people probably got it on the Switch, but me, had to get it on PS5, trophy system, and all that good stuff. Oh, and there's another thing I want to mention about this game. Like, during the gameplay, like with the story, whether it's like good stuff happening or bad stuff happening, the characters will break out in song, like kind of like out of a Disney movie. It's freaking hilarious. I remember a lot of that from the first game, and these games actually do it a lot more, so get ready for that. But it's actually pretty funny, and I think it's charming. It really fits the game. But let me know if you played Rapsody or the sequels. Let me know in the comments. Here's Jametown. So Jason had actually been telling me about this game for years. I remember it originally came out on the PS3 as digital. Now it's finally got a release on the Switch as a physical, but it sucked because I bought this game and then freaking the PS4 gets a physical release. It's not, I don't think it's out yet as of this video yet, but I would have rather have gotten that version. But you guys know me, I probably would have got both versions anyway. Anyways, this is a shoot 'em up that reminds me a lot of a Gunbird. It really feels like that. You can play up to 4 players. I don't think you can play it online though, but 4 players co-op, you know, still, you know, it's pretty solid with a game like this, I would think. It's a lot of fun, and if you like shoot 'em ups, it's definitely something you should keep on your radar. Here's Enchanted Portals. So I was looking forward to this game because, as you can see, the graphic style looks like Cuphead. And now both of these are run and gun games. And Cuphead, I thought was a good game, but it was a bit tough. You know, it could have been a little bit more polished, I would say. Now, Enchanted Portals, you know, I think it had the right idea. They were trying to go for something solid here, but I'll just leave it at this. The game could have done really well with a bit more polish. So I don't know if this game was rushed out, but it seems like, you know, they were just kind of banking off the graphical style and going off the popularity of Cuphead. But you guys let me know what you think about it. You know, the gameplay footage you're seeing here, I mean, it looks enchanting, I would say. But, well, Enchanting Port is great. But anyways, you guys let me know what you think about this one. Trouble Witches Episode 1, also known as Trouble Witches Neo, and probably has a couple other names to it. But anyways, we'll just go for Trouble Witches. I talked about this game years ago on my channel. I originally bought this game on the Xbox 360, and it had a really bad English dub, but the game was actually really solid. And I always wondered why this game hadn't got a physical release, but finally, I don't have to wonder anymore. It is finally here. Now, with this shooter, you know, I hate to compare it, but a lot of these shoot 'em ups are universals, so when I compare this game to something like Magical Chase, I'll compare it to like how in Magical Chase you can like you can actually buy upgrades during gameplay, like the little store will pop up. Same thing happens in this game, but obviously this is the better game. This is a really involved game from Magical Chase. Now, a lot of people don't realize this from the 360 version that was released, but the 360 version was actually 2 players. This one's actually 1 player, so I don't think that's a big downgrade because a lot of people weren't saying, hey, let's play Trouble Witches co-op. You know, that wasn't really happening when this game came out. So 1 player is totally fine. And this game is hectic enough. Playing co-op might have been too crazy, you know, for this game. So, like, it's a lot of stuff going on and everything. But if you're a shoot 'em up fan, definitely keep this one on the radar. I got my physical copy from Play Asia. It might come out physical from a limited run company in America. I'm not really sure, but I'm not trying to wait on that because the game is already in English. Whatever region you're playing the game in, it'll go off that language. So I think that's really cool. But keep your eyes out for this one, guys. It's a gem. Here's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. This includes this is the anniversary edition, and this includes a DLC called Dimension Shell Shock. So it's like its own survival story mode, which is kind of cool. So the game really feels more complete now. You get 2 new characters. You got Psikyo Jimbo, the Samurai Rabbit, and Karai, the leader of the Foot Clan. Now, I played as both characters, but I spent most of my time playing with Karai. She is actually really fun to use. Kind of gimmicky, where Psikyo Jimbo, he's more just like straightforward in my opinion. But the game feels more complete now, I would say. And hopefully we don't get any more versions of this game. This is it. And they'll move on to making a sequel in the future with bigger sprites, I would hope. But if they do make bigger sprites, that means less action on the screen. So maybe that's not a good idea. They should probably keep the same sprites. But anyways, if you love beat 'em ups, you should definitely pick this one up. It's definitely worth it with the price range it's at now, and it comes with pizza coupons in it, so that's definitely a plus. Here's Rolling Gunner Overpower. So this one was kind of funny. You know, I was playing this one, and then next thing you know, like, I don't know, I just felt like I was on the 3rd level and I hadn't got killed yet. So it was pretty insane. I like the fact that you can pretty much shoot all over the screen. You have these options that help you out. But man, just this game is kind of like just breezed by, I would say, even just getting to the 3rd level. But I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts about this one in the comment section, because man, it just, like, I don't know, just flowed really well. Here's the RayStorm HD collection. Now, I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed in this collection, and it's not the games included that I'm disappointed with. It's that this collection doesn't include, at least this version of the collection I got, doesn't include Rayforce, which is the first game. So I thought I was getting all 3 games. And the fact that they released this one like it is, man, just sucks, man, because Rayforce is the one that really, I don't really think that got ported to any other systems, really. But, you know, I could be wrong about that. You guys let me know in the comments. But other than that, these are 2 solid shooters. I actually have them on the PS1, both games. But, man, I can't just, it sucks that the first game is not included in this collection. So I really feel like they missed out. I know they're trying to do this exclusive stuff, man, but it gets, like, out of hand after a while. Like, but I don't know how I could recommend getting this version of it when there's another version out there with all 3 games on it. So you guys let me know if you guys pick this up, and what do you think? You know, is Rayforce really worth it? I think it is, but maybe it's not. Here's Joe and Mac Caveman Ninja. Now, originally this was an arcade game, and it also came out on the Super Nintendo as well, and I think the Genesis too. But I've always preferred the arcade game. I felt that was the better version, and this game is a remake of that version. Now, I wish they would have kind of just, I don't know, just made HD graphics or something like that. I don't really like the graphical style that they went with, but I can accept it. You know, I actually bought this game for $10, so I got it off Woot, so I'm not complaining. But I think it's a solid game, and I think people should check it out. I just wish that they would have added the arcade game as an unlockable, the original. And here's Batsugun, part of the Saturn Tribute Boosted series. Man, this game is insane. Oh my god, it's so good, guys. I can see why this game was so expensive on the Saturn, man. When I saw the price for it originally on the Saturn, I didn't pay any attention. So I was like, man, whatever, man. I would never pay that for this game. But since they ported it to PS4 and Switch, and I finally got to play it, oh my god, this game might even be worth those prices. No, I'm just kidding. Nothing's worth that price. But still, very good shoot 'em up game, guys. Probably one of the best vertical shoot 'em up games out there. This is just really that good. The effort they love and put into this game. I mean, if this game came out to America on the Saturn, these are the type of games that would have helped save the Saturn in America. You know, not just shoot 'em up, but you know what I mean. Just like if people got to see games like this in America, it would have been amazing back in the day. But anyways, probably, oh my god, I probably have to make another shoot 'em up video. But probably this is definitely one of the top shooters out there, I would say. But anyways, you guys let me know what you think about it. Here's the Psikyo Collection, Volume 1 and 2. These are the shooting galleries. And these originally came out on Switch years ago. And I always thought to myself, like, man, if it came out on the PS4, I would probably pick it up. Because I think with the Switch copies, there was an issue with like input lag or something like that. I don't know if they fixed it. But eventually, as you can see here, it came out on the PS4. This is a solid collection of a lot of their best titles. You know, I don't know if they could actually make a volume 3. You know, they possibly can. I mean, there's enough games on there. There's about 6 games on each collection. So, but anyways, definitely worth having. You know what? Actually, one of the games on here is not worthy of this collection, and that is freaking Samurai Aces 3. Man, the first 2 games were actually pretty awesome, but this third game actually, it was exclusive to the PSP. at the time it was, but now I guess they say, hey, let's go ahead and port that game to a modern console, and it just doesn't feel right. That's probably the game that really stands out like as an awkward one on these collections. But if I would have to say there's a main game that I like on these collections, I'm sorry guys, it's got to be Gunbird 1 and 2. I love those games. Here's Phantom Breaker Omnia. So one of my original videos on my channel was me doing an unboxing of the original version of this game for PS3. And I was so happy to get that game. Like I was like really collecting a lot of fighting games back then. Now I'm playing this kind of like upgraded remaster. The game, of course, is a lot better because I can understand what's going on with the story and options and everything like that. But man, it feels like this game is just so unbalanced. I don't know. Like it just feels like it's not a tournament type game, but it just feels like it's just pretty much crazy. You know, not really balanced. It's crazy combos. But you guys let me know what you think about this one if you played it. Like I said, I like fighting games, so I had to pick this one up. Definitely, I would say it's for, what do you guys call it? The anime fighter?
Not today.
Here's Double Dragon Gaiden, or Gaiden, whatever you guys want to call it. So this is a roguelike beat 'em up, and I wasn't really expecting this. When I saw them do commercials for this, I got pumped up, even though I wasn't sure about the kind of like small sprite style, the anime style they went with this one in a way. I'm not saying it's anime, but just like, I don't know, just the characters looked more just like cutesy, I would say. But anyways, it's a solid game, but I'm just not sure like how I feel about rogue type of beat 'em up games. You know, the game starts out really, you know, pretty decent, and then it gets harder if you actually start losing in the game. Like, so if you get killed, you have to pay money to buy continues, and it gets more expensive the more continues you buy. So it could be pretty insane in that manner. But it's actually, I think it's a lot to be fun to be had with it. But I also feel like it should have had some kind of online support. You know, like I told you guys before, like I always say, you know, when it comes to beat 'em up games, they have to find some way to make them online because more people will get into them like that. You know, that's the new co-op of today. But I think this one has some potential. I'm gonna play it a little bit more. Maybe I'll possibly do a review on it in the future. I'm not really sure, but I got to get more into it, and I definitely got to beat the game. But anyways, guys, if you like what you're seeing here, you might want to check this one out. Here's Raiden III Ex Machina. So the original game came out on the PS2, and that shooter just kind of passed by, I think, out of the Raiden series. Like, nobody really paid attention to it. And with the newer games coming out, with Raiden 5 being awesome, I actually did a video review on that. And then there's Raiden 4, they remade that and brought it back, added some stuff to it. I can understand why Raiden 3 was the last one they kind of like remastered, because this one, it just feels generic compared to the other games. And that's not saying it's a bad game or anything like that, but playing Raiden 4 or 5, it's just like, it's a much better time than this one. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's the music in this one. It just didn't flow right. I don't know. But you guys, let me know what you think about it. I'm happy that they remade it, of course, or remastered or whatever. But like I said, like, this is not the first Raiden game that's going to be your choice when it comes to playing shooters. Here's a Kai Katana Shin. Now, this is a shoot 'em up very similar to, if you guys have played Death Smiles, I talk about that on my channel a lot. It's very similar to that. And the game originally came out on the 360. And the 360 version, I don't think it was really well known. It was kind of weird that the game came out on the system so late in the life cycle of that system. I felt like if it came out on PS3, it would have been more well received. But other than that, I'm happy that this game got re-released on the PS4 and the Switch. Now, when I was playing this, I came to the realization that, man, these type of games are hard to play two players on because there's so much going on in the screen. Like, this, it's just hectic. So I couldn't imagine people really playing in two-player mode. But hey, there's probably some videos out there where people playing this game two-player. But man, it's just so much going on the screen. Like, this is just pretty insane. But the other thing I wanted to show you guys, I actually got the hookup. My buddy Kyle found the collector's edition for the Switch. I didn't even know this thing existed. So I want to show you guys a couple things this comes with. Now, of course, it comes with the game itself, and also this game plays in English too, even though it has Japanese text on it. This arcade card, it kind of shows you how to play the game, I believe. It's more like a standee type thing, I think. Yeah, anyways, it also comes with the soundtrack, which is excellent. This game has a lot of good tunes in it. Here's Vengeful Guardian MoonRider. This game is freaking awesome, but I was sucking at it, man. It was tough in the beginning trying to figure everything out, but man, I feel like this game is like a kind of like a spiritual successor to that game on the Super Nintendo. I keep thinking the game's called Musashi, but it's called Hagane. And if you're a fan of Hagane, I mean, which I hope a lot of you are, I mean, that game is pretty cool, but it's also very hard. This game is definitely a spiritual successor to that game. But this game, I feel like it's more polished, even though I was like, when I was playing it, I was just not doing as well as I thought I was. But practice makes perfect, so I got to get back into this one and play some more. But some of you guys out there, I think you guys will like this one. Here's After Image. So what drew me to this game is the art style, pretty much. You know, at the time that this game came out, I was looking for games that were like similar to what you would call Metroidvanias, and this game seemed perfect. But unfortunately, I haven't got that far yet, so I can't really tell you too much about it. But from the beginning, it actually, I feel like it really pulls you in. So I think people should definitely give this one a try if you're looking for an adventure type game. Here's Demonica Everlasting Night. I got this from our friends at Video Games New York Soft, and this game is like, well, pretty much a Metroidvania, but you pretty much fight with your bare hands in this game. You know, like, it's pretty intense. Graphically, the game looks really good, and I like the sound and music this game has, but unfortunately, I haven't got that far in it yet to give you guys more details. But I picked it up, and I'm liking it so far, but I'll let you know probably in a future review how I feel about the whole game. Here's American Hero. This is probably the most American game you could play today. Originally, this game was supposed to come out for the Jaguar CD, but unfortunately, it didn't make it. But somebody found it, restored it, and now it's on the PS4, Switch, and I believe a couple other systems as well. You play as an agent who's kind of brought back into the fold, and like going back to FMV games, how they started out, how they were pretty bad and everything like that. This one kind of, I think, would have set the bar for games back then if it had came out. You know, I think it's well done, even though the story's silly, but it's great. I mean, I think a lot of people will love it. You know, there's a lot of options to choose, and it just feels, I mean, I know these games are trial and error pretty much, but man, it's just funny. But the only bad thing I would say about this game is that if you lose in a certain part of the game, you'll kind of get reset pretty far back, and I think that's pretty annoying. So, but you guys know how FMV games are. I think you guys should definitely try this one out, at least for a laugh. Here's Blossom Tales Part 2. I'm about halfway through the first game, so I want to kind of like finish that one before I get into this one, but I wanted to just show you guys a little bit of the gameplay that this game has to offer. Here's Under the Waves. Now, this story is about love and loss, and it pretty much it's an adventure and a narrative game as well. You'll have parts of the game that'll kind of go back in the past, and they'll kind of reveal themselves like later in the game. But most of the beginning part of the game is a lot of exploring underwater. You find like underwater houses and things like that. It's pretty insane. But I think a lot of people will like this game. It's actually, I think it was published by Quantum Dreams, the same people who did Detroit Become Human. Not their game, they just published it, but still, knowing that they published this game, maybe, you know, like, may give people some interest in it, I would think.
Upping the extraction rate. Maximum output.
I don't expect you to understand.
You're not the only one who's suffering. I need you with me here, now.
I will be.
Here's Astalon, Tears of the Earth. You know, so this game started out pretty crazy. You know, you team up with two friends and you can switch between them. But man, I mean, you pretty much get killed like on the first boss, and you kind of like have the choice whether you want to come back to life or not. But you know there's something evil tied to that when you do. And you and your party members are brought back to life, and you continue the adventure. I feel like something really dark is going to happen as I continue this game. But you get to switch between your characters. Each character like adds something new to like discovering new areas. But overall, I picked this one up because I heard a lot of people giving this game good reviews, and I wanted to check it out for myself. So if you guys have played it, let me know what I'm getting into. Here's Air Twister. So when I first saw this game, I thought of like Space Harrier, but the game plays more like Panzer Dragoon if you played those games on the Sega Saturn. The game is very chill, man, very relaxing, I would say. You don't have to worry about, at least from the levels I played, I mean, I didn't have to worry about like too much like stuff happening on the screen where it was confusing. But I definitely felt like the game was a throwback to Panzer Dragoon Saga, or not Saga, just the regular Panzer Dragoon game. But anyways, if you like the footage you're seeing here, let me know what you guys think about it. Now, here is Gal Guardians. Was also known as Grim Guardians before they had a name change because of some copyright thing going on. But I initially looked at this game as like it was going to be a Metroidvania game, but it really reminds me more of a traditional Castlevania game that's less level-based. But the thing about this game, you can actually go back to older areas, so I guess Metroidvania is fine. I mean, I've been wearing Metroidvania out in this whole video, but still, you got to call it like you see it. Anyways, you play as two characters. One has guns and one has melee weapons. I usually choose the girl with the melee weapons the most because I'm just used to that kind of style. The girl with the gun is really good, but you got to reload, which is pretty easy, but I'm just not used to that type of combat yet. But switching between them is really cool. And also that if one of them actually gets killed, the game will automatically switch you to the other girl, and then you can rescue that person later. But if you get them both killed, then it's game over. So you always have the opportunity to rescue the other one as long as one is still living. What really intrigued me about this game was the art style they used for the enemies and the level design. I thought it was really nice. But you guys let me know what you think. I mean, obviously a lot of people will compare it to Castlevania, but I'd love to know your opinions about this game if you guys have played it.